Welcome back to Millennial Fashionista TV. Today we're doing a little bit of a different video. I wanted to share with you guys the top 5 favorite eyeshadow palettes that I have in my arsenal. And one of them is not a palette necessarily, but it's something that I use all the time when I want to bump up my eyeshadow and want to go for a glam glittery look. But all the others are eyeshadow palettes that I always gravitate to and that I find I get the most bang for my buck. They have a lot of color payoff and basically you can create a lot of different looks with them. So without further, oh my, every time. So without further, what's happening? Oh my goodness, I need a sip of coffee. So let's just jump right into it, why don't we? The first palette I have for you is one that I've been raving about recently, and it probably comes as no surprise to you, but it's the Huda Beauty Mauve Obsessions. They're easy to travel with and you can get a lot of different looks from this tiny little square. They do come in like different themes, like they have the warm obsessions and the smoky obsessions, but I find myself gravitating toward the Mauve Obsessions recently. I've been liking the purplish pinky colors recently. So this retails for $27. I've been using this a lot recently and it doesn't seem like I've made a few dents, but not for how much I've been using it. So I haven't gotten to the core in any of these pans, but the two colors that I most gravitate toward are these 3 sparkly shades right here, and I'm just gonna swatch them very quickly. So it's basically the 3 sparkly shades in the whole palette, but that's what they look like. They're very rosy, very pinky, very mauve. So if you guys are into those shades, this is the perfect eyeshadow palette for you. I've been using it pretty much every day recently and I've been traveling with it. So I love how compact it is and how small and easy to carry it is. Alright, now on to the next one. Alright, so the next palette is the Original Naked palette. This was the first palette I ever got when I started getting into makeup. Well, the first high-end palette I ever got. And I still have it, if you can believe it. This is that first palette. I haven't gone through it because I just have so much makeup now that, you know, I'm always switching things up, trying new things. If I want like a neutral everyday look, this is the best palette for that because you've got the warmer shades, the cooler shades, you have a lot of mattes, you have a lot of shimmers, and I love how blendable they are. It's a really great palette if you want to create everyday looks, and especially if you want like a beginner palette and you just want to play around with different looks. I think this is a really good palette for that because it's really blendable and it has some really easy colors to work with. You don't have like high intensity, high color palettes. It's just very neutral and very basic. And this retails for $54. Like I said, I've had this for 7 years now. I would say about 7 years. And look at how good it looks. I was using it pretty much every day for a while there when I was going to the office. So this has gotten a lot of love and I'm still on my first palette. I know that's hard to believe and people will think like, girl, you're not wearing makeup all the time, but I am, I promise. All right, now on to the next thing. So this next product that I wanted to share is not a palette, but I've fallen in love with them. It's the Stila Glitter and Glow Liquid Eyeshadows, and I have it in a couple different shades, but the one that I'm holding is the Diamond Dust, and it's one of the more cooler tones, and I have to say I love this. Like, I've gotten so many compliments on my makeup when I've worn these Stila shadows. They just make you shine like crazy. Like, let me show you guys. So this is the Diamond Dust. I've used this for New Year's. Whenever I go to parties or anything where I want to bump up my makeup a notch, I always gravitate towards these eyeshadows because they're really easy to work with and they just glitter so much. They just look so good on anybody, and they have so many different shades that it looks good on anybody. So these retail for, and pretty much all the prices I've been giving you have been from Sephora. The next 2 palettes that I'm going to be highlighting are from Ulta. But these 3, the Huda Beauty, the Urban Decay, and now the Stila liquid eyeshadow. They're all from Sephora. And this Stila liquid eyeshadow retails for, I believe it's $24. I haven't gone through them that quickly. They last a good amount of time. I haven't gone fully through any of my tubes, and I definitely think the price is worth it. All right, so the next eyeshadow palette I want to highlight is one by NARS. And this is actually my one and only NARS eyeshadow palette. Usually I'm all for their blushes, especially their Orgasm collection. But when I saw this eyeshadow palette, I totally fell in love with the colors and I just had to get it. And it's actually what I'm wearing on my face right now. It's the NARS Wanted eyeshadow palette, and it looks like this. It's got some really pretty shimmers in here. And it's also got some really pretty mattes. You have a lot of rosy colors, a lot of neutral colors, and I'm going to swatch some of my faves for you so you can see. So these are some of the swatches from the palette, and I just love them. Right now on my eyes, I'm wearing these two right here, and then I'm wearing the shimmer one down here. This one. I'm wearing the shimmer one down here. So I'm wearing a combination of 3 colors, and I am absolutely in love with the color payoff. They're really easy to blend. You can play with this palette a lot. Like, you can, if I wanted to darken this up for nighttime, I can go in with that darker shade and just put it in my crease. It just works so well. And it's actually pretty small, like it's not a big palette. So it's going to be really easy for you to carry around, especially when you travel. So I love this palette. This retails for, I believe it's $59, but let me check. $59 at Ulta. Yes, it is $59 at Ulta. So NARS is a little bit more on the pricier side, but I just love the quality of their makeup, and you can't go wrong with basically anything they have. So if you want like a high-end, good quality makeup that you know will last you forever, and you know you're going to get some really banging makeup from it, then you should really consider this palette. I mean, listen, makeup is like everything else. Like, what you put in is what you get back. I said this in my last video. I kind of steer away from some of the drugstore makeup because I don't know what I'm getting. It's a risk for me, and not that it costs so much, but I don't use it because I've just had bad experiences with any drugstore makeup. So I try to buy quality things. That goes for every area of my life. I try to go for quality over quantity, and it's not just about price, but I know what I'm getting because I can test these out in store. I can try them out. A lot of the times when it even comes to foundation or primers or any of that sort of thing, I can ask for samples to take home with me before I even invest in them. So anyway, I'm done ranting. Makeup, like everything else in life, you get what you put in. The more you practice, now I'm like going off on a rabbit trail that has nothing to do with palettes. Anyway, we'll move on. We'll save that for another video. How about that? I'll philosophize another time. All right, the final palette that I have for you guys is the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. And I've done a video on this palette, but what I love about it, the blendability of this is really bomb. And the best part about it is just how many options you have in here. Like, you can create thousands of makeup looks with this. I tend to be a little bit more basic with my makeup. Like, I don't experiment too much with colors and stuff just because I don't necessarily like stuff like that on me personally. I usually just go for the more neutral, natural colors. But this has a lot that you can do with it, and the shadows in this corner right here have pretty much gone untouched, but then everything else has literally been used. And I will swatch. I'm sure you guys have seen swatches of this so many times before, so I'm just gonna swatch a couple for you guys. And for how much you're getting in this palette, it's like a no-brainer. I think this palette is, let's see, and now they have them at Ulta, and you can test them out and swatch them there too. So let's see, Morphe eyeshadow palette. No, Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette. Let's see. So this palette retails for $38. And for $38, you are getting a lot of shadow, like a lot. You have so many different colors and shades, so many different mattes, so many different shimmers, so many different glitter shades. I think this palette is one where really you don't need any other palette. Like, you can do everything with it. It is a little bit harder to travel with it just because it's so big and bulky. You know, we've been traveling a lot recently, so I like to go for the tinier options. But if you want like a lot of different color options, then the Jaclyn Hill palette is the palette for you. And for the price, I mean, come on, $38 for this whole thing? That's a really good deal. That's all I have for you guys today. These are my top 5 favorite eyeshadow palettes that I have in my arsenal and that I'm constantly using. I absolutely love them. There are some awesome shades in each of these palettes. You can play with a lot of different makeup looks with each of these palettes, but really it just depends on what you want to do and what you're looking to get. Like I said, this is a really good one for everyday neutral looks. This is a really good one for travel, and if you are into the mauvier looks, this is absolutely awesome for you. This is another good one for travel, and it has some really cool natural colors in here. The Stila is really good for play, and you can create some really awesome glittery shades with these. And then the Jaclyn Hill, you can pretty much do everything with it. So depends what you're looking for and what your budget is. If you guys want to see more videos like this in the future, please give this video a thumbs up, and if you haven't already done so, don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to get a notification when I post a new video, then click the bell button below. And if you are not following me on social media, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. And on Instagram and Facebook, it's Millennial Fashionista, and on Pinterest, it's Millennial Fash. So I really enjoyed doing this video for you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys next time. Kisses, besos, pupici.